Tony Montana, one of the things about him is, and it's classic to me, is when people build wealth on the outside, but they don't shift the inside. So he was still a Cuban refugee who had had a traumatic childhood.
Yeah.
He hadn't done the inner work, so the outside you'll pull it back in on yourself every single time. I mean, I've seen it in the addiction field where people will, get in recovery, get married, have a beautiful wife, beautiful home, lots of money, and then they relapse. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Well, because they fixed the outside and they didn't do the inner work. And he's a perfect example of that, where he had all this skill and knowledge and experience to develop, be a drug lord kingpin, find the most beautiful wife, get his family from Cuba. However, we could call them his demons, quote unquote, which I don't really like that term, but like that's a, common term they use, his egoic self. He didn't do the inner work. He could never fully see who he actually was. Instead, he saw it through these filters. And those filters were, not only tragic, but they were also violent. If he really understood who he was. I mean, I remember as a young woman years ago, she was going to leave treatment center AMA, and she was against medical advice. And I remember I was working with her that day, and she said, well, I'm going to go be a stripper because I think it's empowering. I'm like, you're right. It's very empowering. It's interesting, though, because you're choosing that. It's just as empowering to be a CEO. Why wouldn't you choose that one instead? And you could see it in her face, and she's like, I'd never really thought of it